Cada uno de ustedes han pasado por problemas y asuntos inmigratorios. Cada uno de ustedes conoce a alguien que ha pasado muchos trabajos. Entre todos ustedes que han pasado estos trabajos, esta tarde vamos a escuchar a dos jóvenes que han pasado por muchos problemas tocante la inmigración. La primera se llama y está preparándose para asistir a la escuela. Su primer nombre es Elisa. Elisa, please come up.
Give us you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry, you're huddled masses yearning to be free. These are the words carved into the Statue of Liberty, greeting immigrants coming to America at Ellis Island, New York. America has long been a sign of hope to people from all around the world. Millions of people from all over the world have come here for mostly the same reasons: religious freedom, economic opportunity, and an overall better quality of life. While the U.S. has a rich history of immigration, it also has a darker history of strong anti-immigrant sentiment. Many would agree that this past cannot be forgotten. The Italians, the Irish, Japanese, and Chinese were all once persecuted and labeled as being lazy, not wanting to work, not wanting to learn English, and stamped as criminals when they first arrived to this country. Unfortunately, immigrants today are often stamped with these same labels. In 1990, my family came here from Colombia, hoping for a better life and a chance to succeed. However, as a 4-year-old, I was never asked if I wanted to come here. I was never told of what troubles I would have to deal with as an adult. Yet how can you tell a child that from the day she steps foot into this land of liberty would turn into a nightmare where she would have to deal with injustices of being rejected from the community she was raised in? I lived what many would consider a pretty normal American childhood. I played hopscotch with my friends, I watched cartoons, and I was even in love with Leonardo DiCaprio. I always thought I was just like all my friends until reality set in, and I started seeing my friends doing things I could never do. I would often ask my parents what was wrong with me, but of course, like any parent would do, they told me to ignore it, and that everything would be fine. But after a while, these words meant nothing to me. I wanted an explanation right then and there. As they were explaining, my mind couldn't comprehend the vast despair of my reality. I didn't understand how a 9-digit number could control my life, or how a country which I loved so much didn't want me. Growing up, I had so many dreams. I remember my father asking me when I was young, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I replied, "I want to be a doctor." Just thinking those words makes me sad. Everyone daydreams of what they want to accomplish. Sadly, most of us never get to reach those goals. How can you tell someone they can't go to college just because they're undocumented? They say for every door that closes, 2 more open. But for immigrants, it's for every door that closes, 2 more will close with it. We need some light at the end of the tunnel. Hope is something every human being lives for, yet when you take that hope away, tell me what is left but is a lost soul with no direction. It has become very easy to blame illegal immigrants for some social and economic problems in this country. Yet if we see what most people have said about immigrants, it will always be positive. John F. Kennedy once said, "Everywhere immigrants have enriched and strengthened the fabric of American lives." And these immigrants are the ones being overlooked by many and should be brought up more often. To name a few, Jaime Escalante, born in Cochabamba, Bolivia, immigrated to the U.S. in 1964, said to be the best teacher in America, helped thousands of students, and inspired millions. Dr. Severo Ochoa, born in Luarca, Spain, immigrated to the U.S. in 1959, won the Nobel Prize in Medicine, and physiology for his discovery of the RNA, one of the chemical building blocks of life. From the early pilgrims that landed on Plymouth Rock, to the European and Asian immigrants in the late 1800s, and to the Latin American immigrants today, all these people have come here for mostly the same reasons: religious freedom, economic opportunity, and overall better quality of life. And while the U.S. has a rich history of immigration, it also has a darker history of anti-immigrant sentiment. Many would agree that this past cannot be forgotten. If we view history objectively, we remember that every new wave of immigrants has been met with suspicion and doubt, and yet, ultimately, every past wave of immigrants has been vindicated and saluted. Like me, there are many others under the same circumstance. We did not have a choice when coming to this country, and what saddens me the most is that every day we have to face the sad reality that we do not belong anywhere. For many who grew up here, our native country is just a distant memory. We are neither from here nor from there. So the question is, where do we belong? Many of us barely speak our native tongue, and if we were to go back to the countries we were born in, it would be more of a foreign country because we wouldn't know how to get around, much less survive. While Bill Clinton gave the commencement address at the Rochester Institute of Technology, he also stated, "The fundamental problem is, the population is growing in the world in places that can't support the population. So people who love their children or want to care for their parents have to go somewhere else to try to make a living. And if they don't, there are going to be more wars, more upheaval, more explosions. And all these trends are going to get worse unless we deal with them." To fully understand why so many people come to this country illegally, one must first understand the reason these people are coming and why it is so hard to come illegally. The trouble with legal immigration is that laws make it intentionally difficult to come to the U.S. The process can be long and difficult, sometimes taking years or decades to be allowed into the country. Coming to the country legally is also very expensive, which is money that immigrants do not have or they wouldn't be coming here in the first place. From the perspective of an illegal immigrant or undocumented, the U.S. looks like a paradise. Companies are ready and willing to hire, good education for children, and countless opportunities that make coming here very tempting, especially when most trying to escape extreme poverty in their home country. Living in this country illegally is also not an enjoyable experience. These people daily live with constant fear of losing work or the possibility of being separated from their families by being deported. The issue of immigration is not new to this country that has often been called the nation of immigrants. There is no simple solution for immigration. It is a complicated issue that will require cooperation from those that are against and those for illegal immigration. Immigrants will have to obey the laws and be productive members of society, and also they cannot be categorized as criminals or intruders, but people that have come here looking for a better life. People in this country will have to learn from the blunders of past generations and come to a resolution that is the most beneficial to the entire nation when dealing with this issue. While many would like to solve illegal immigration by building barriers, spreading lies and paranoia, the only true way to take on this issue is by working together to come to a solution that is both humane and rational. This will take cooperation because, like any issue that this country has ever faced, the solution has always been through a collaborative effort. People from both sides of the argument must unite and work together to find a solution that would most benefit this country. Because when we come together, we will learn why many people sacrifice so much to come to the land of opportunity. This is not a plea for sympathy, but a plea for humanity. We might not be citizens of this country, but we are citizens of this world, and that should give us some right to follow our dreams and reach our goals. Because we can't deny a child the right they already have from the moment they were born. I pray and I hope these brave